think you're the only superhero in the world? You've become part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet.
Earth's mightiest heroes don't think.
Because if we can't protect the Earth, you can be damn well sure we'll avenge it.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Here we go.
Yo, I love that intro, especially when Cap says, before we get started, does anybody want to get out? Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Coffee and Comics in the building. Comic heads, are y'all ready?
I'm assembled.
Are you assembled?
Of course I'm assembled. I even got the Marvel shirt on for tonight.
I'm strictly wearing my tights, my underoos. I know I didn't share them tonight with you, but
well, is it the Wonder Woman underoos from last week, or
no.
did you upgrade to like Black Widow underoos?
I took it a step further. It's my Spidey underoos.
Ooh.
Well, if you haven't known by now, I'm your favorite host, Lyric, and along with my brother Jimmy Jam, and of course C-Max in the building. You guys get ready to talk some nerd?
Let's do this.
Well, of course, you know what the first thing we have to talk about.
Disney Plus is just killing us.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Well, excuse me, Captain America and the Winter Soldier. And I'm so happy they gave him that damn title.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about that last episode?
I'll be honest with you. It made me laugh, made me cry, made me proud to be a comic fan, and I just like the way they not wrapped it up, but introduced the next level.
Yeah, I felt the same way. It was it was funny. I was watching it Friday night, and it was after we got the kids all squared away, and my son couldn't sleep, and he came down, and it was right after the big reveal of the costume, and somebody's like, "Wait, aren't you the Black Falcon?" And he just looks at him and goes, "No, I'm Captain America." And my son came in, walked into the den, the family room, and laid down on the love seat. He's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "Buddy, it's Captain America. It's Captain America." Like right at that point where he's walking in with the suit and everything, and he goes, "Wait, that's Captain America?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Let's give
Captain
a round
America.
of applause for that suit, man. That suit was amazing. The Wakandans did their job on that suit, man.
That it is amazingly done. I just love the whole costume, the whole premise. I thought it was great.
Now, what did you feel about the moment where Mr. Walker decided to save the truck full of people instead of going after revenge?
That was. I was sitting there. I was kind of on the edge of my seat. I'm like, "Come on, man! Come on! Like, all you got to do is grab the truck. All you got to do is grab the truck."
I literally was yelling at the TV, like, "Come on!"
Yeah.
I think,
And we grabbed it. I was like, "About time you came around."
it was crucial for the character development for him to do what he did in that scene. That defined his role in the Marvel universe right now.
And hats off to Wyatt Russell, because I mean, he played a character at the beginning. Everybody was like, "Who is this a-hole?"
Yeah.
And by the end of it, like, I was fully in. I'm like, let's see what he can do with it. Like, hats off, man. I want you to run with this.
Now, I thought it was very symbolic when he threw his shield over the barrier, and then you seen the good shield grab the truck and lift it up with his cool ass little the things that didn't Iron Man have those in Homecoming, fixing the boat,
like versions of
out?
like they were like little repulsor things, and he had like little multiple Red Wings that were like.
Yo,
but still,
Red Wing had an upgrade and a half. He's able to read people's DNA.
That was deep. I don't know. I just like the whole show. I like the way it stepped into the next phase, and I think kudos.
Yeah.
And I love at the end when they gave Isaiah his proper section in the Captain America Memorial.
Yeah, that was like the smile, feel good. Like,
I shed tears at that moment.
I mean, the way they wrapped up the series in the last like 3 episodes, where they really got to like the root of it, where you started feeling the heart and soul. They were getting deeper into the characters. They had the whole thing with Isaiah, and then you see that at the end, especially after introducing him like right in the beginning. and like the torture and the torment and just everything he went through. And then you get to see that more and more and more. And at the end, he gets his, like, I don't want to say Cap Endgame ending, because his ending was still sad, but he gets that acknowledgement for what he went through as a character.
Yeah.
And had to keep a secret for all those years. It's like, come on, can you not smile and get a little choked up about that?
Yeah, I definitely got teary-eyed. Definitely got teary-eyed.
Yeah. And then when Sam stood up at the end and started talking to the reporters and
That was
holding all the senators accountable. Yeah.
How Steve Rogers of him, like Steve Rogers did the same thing to Nick Fury in The Winter Soldier, coming down the escalator. You're pointing a gun. What did he say? You're pointing a gun at everybody in the world and calling it security.
Yeah. Well, not even how Steve Rogers of him, how Captain America of him. Because that's what Captain America does.
Yeah, he represented the speech, not even the speech, but the conversation he had with the senator was just, called him out. Like you said, the accountability was there, and he made it. The fact that they were filming it while they were filming it, it was just, I can't say enough about the show. I thought WandaVision had me, pretty much emerged into the Disney Plus, but wow, this one really took me in further.
All right, C-Mac, are you ready? It's our
ready.
favorite time of this wrapping up the Falcon and Winter Soldier, aka Captain America. Not Black Cap, ladies and gentlemen, Captain America. Ooh. We're going to theory time. So I have some theories, and I'm pretty sure C-Mac has his. So I'm going to start off with mine. I want to see how much you agree with my theories. But I think this is all heading to either a Dark Avengers / Thunderbolts movie or series. I think Osborn is in our face without being in our face right now. And I think I mentioned it to you. The bomb they used to smoke out the people in their versions of the United Nations looks just like a Green Goblin pumpkin bomb. Ooh, made you think, didn't I?
Very much so.
Here's the only thing I'll say about that.
Okay.
So we're talking about that Sony deal, right?
Yes.
But when they filmed this, was that deal going through already?
I think they already knew about that deal. They wanted to wait to the last minute. The focus was on Falcon and the Winter Soldier at that point.
Yeah.
Now,
well, that could be true because they announced Captain America 4 like right after the show wrapped.
The piece of hardware that was put on.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Okay.
I think that's the beginning stages of Dr. Octopus's arms. That's the technology he started coming up with. How can I put this on my back and handle?
It could be.
That's my theory, and I think at the very end, where Sharon gets acquitted and is allowed to be in the United States of America again, and she calls somebody. I think she's talking to Osborn.
You think?
I think either Osborn or Thunderbolt, one of those two. That's my theory. And then obviously you see when Walker and Elaine are talking and he's getting his new suit. I think Val, I think Sharon, and I think Thunderbolt Ross, I think they're all in some way, shape, or form in cahoots with each other.
See, you had me at Dark Avengers. That's where you had me, and that's where I think it'll go. But bringing the Spider-Man universe into it was a little deep. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it's my theory. What do you think, Mac?
So many different things that could be taken out of it. So it's the like, okay, do we go really, really crazy, like down the rabbit hole, or do we sit back and say, well, let's make it make sense here? I think personally, just from watching it, just seeing what they're doing, I think they're setting up the Thunderbolts. I don't know about the Dark Avengers. They could be planting seeds for it, but I think Dark Avengers is a little bit too aggressive of a move to make
Yeah.
within the cinematic universe. I mean, it's already happened in the comic books, but I think we'll see that eventually if they keep Thor around, because Dark Avengers leads up to Dark Reign and they invade Asgard. So something's got to happen with the Asgardians on Earth going somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see that in the Thor movie. But, you know, bringing it back to just, you know, Falcon or Captain America and the Winter Soldier, I think what they're setting up, and they've already said this in reports, but Elaine is basically like the opposite of Nick Fury, but she's going to serve the Nick Fury role for the bad guys over the next couple of TV series, movies, etc. I think they might have Sharon Carter set up to be like the Black Widow of whatever this team's going to be. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, you know, maybe that's the place she'll take, or maybe she's a double agent. You know, maybe Fury's in her ear saying, "Listen, you got to do this and take these people down." You know,
Now, I
a lot
know
of different ways it could go.
Yeah, I know there was a huge theory that this Sharon that we're seeing is a Skrull, just by some of the maneuvers that she was using, and I believe at the moment that is where they all finally team up at the beginning outside, and she pulls off the same netting that Natasha used in the Winter Soldier to change her identity. That right there proves that she's not a Skrull, because if she was a Skrull, she could just change her appearance, walk off in the shadow somewhere, change herself back, instead of using the technology over her face.
Yeah, well, I think the Skrull theory is, I don't know. I mean, I said it before with her being the power broker, and it's like, no, that's low hanging fruit. It's not her. Then we get to the end of this, and she's the power broker.
Well, she technically never says she was the power broker.
That's true. But it was implied that she was. We might see something different down the road, just like with the Mandarin.
Yes.
You know, they did the Mandarin in Iron Man 3, and now all of a sudden it's, you know, not the Mandarin. There's somebody else out there. We're going to see him in Shang-Chi, but they've been planning those deep cuts since the first Iron Man movie with the Ten Rings terrorist group.
Oh yeah.
At first that was supposed to be like a fun little nod, and then now you look at everything and you're like, wait a second, this is getting pretty deep.
They were everywhere.
Yeah, because there were guys with like neck tattoos that were the 10 rings, and so I'm looking at it like, all right, keeping it simple, she could just be working for SHIELD or for SWORD or somebody, infiltrating all these different organizations under the guise that she's been excommunicated from the United States. And now we're to the point where she's back into it. You know, what's the goal? What's the end game with what she's doing? But with the with the possibility of Dark Avengers, too early. Thunderbolts,
I agree,
absolutely.
yeah. Especially with what's going on with the whole Black Widow movie. With AIM being involved, and the Thunderbolt Ross, and, you know, AIM being involved in making him the Red Hulk and all that crazy nonsense. I think that's the more logical avenue they take. But I got a question for both of y'all.
I was gonna say maybe Sharon Carter has something to do with that too.
Oh, maybe
she might have access to the serum. Yeah.
So, do you both think Nick Fury's done in the MCU?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, it's like Power Rangers, you know, Zordon. Come on.
Yo, not for nothing, I think Jimmy would play a dope Zordon.
Oh yeah.
Look at that dome.
All we got to do is just shave his head, get him in a tube, you know, paint him blue, blow some smoke around him, and just have him move real slow.
If you shave my head, I'm gonna look like that movie Powder.
Hey Jimmy, can you give us a Power Rangers?
No.
Give me teenagers with attitude.
Rangers, there's an emergency.
All right, so you brought up another great show coming up. Movie. Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings. What did you think of the first trailer?
I'm all in.
For a person who hasn't really followed Shang-Chi, and I feel very bad Marvel guy. Like, shame on me. But I'm bought in.
Yeah, after watching the trailer, you showed it to me. It's September, right? Is that one?
Yeah, I think that's what it said, yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely waiting for that one, and I will be there to see that one in the theater.
That's actually
Well,
coming off
and-
the Tales of Loki TV show, right?
What was that again?
Loki starts in June, right?
June.
So that'll be
Yeah,
coming
so
off
we
the
have-
Tales of Loki.
We have a little bit of time now because, Falcon and Winter Soldier just wrapped, and I think Black Widow is coming out in May.
Yeah.
No,
And they're
they
gonna
moved
do
it
it on
back to
Disney
July.
Plus.
July,
They
yeah,
moved-
yeah.
They moved it back to
So
July.
they moved
Oh.
it back to July.
We're having Loki, Black Widow, and then Shang-Chi.
hmm
Comic heads assemble.
Yeah, yeah. And then the Suicide Squad.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
With
Yeah, that's
John Cena and his gold forehead.
Peacemaker. Yeah.
God.
I will kill every man, woman, and child in this island and take to get peace.
Look, I like James Gunn. I love what he did with Guardians, and I really, really hope this is a good movie.
I think it will be. They've got a pretty solid cast, and they're putting all the people that are out there. I mean, Margot Robbie. You want to talk about somebody defining a role? I mean, first time we're seeing Harley Quinn in the flesh, but she's absolutely
killed it.
killing it. Yeah,
I
like
can't-
every movie she's in, the movie could be good or bad, but she's solid in the role.
Oh, yeah.
I loved everything about the first Suicide Squad except for the Joker. I didn't care for it.
Yeah, Leto's Joker but I don't think they gave him enough to play with. I mean, they chopped that movie up like crazy.
Yeah, it was.
So
I mean, I kind of was like, I'm willing to give him a second chance after the Snyder cut,
mhm.
because he gave me a little bit more, and I'm like, okay, I can kind of believe in this guy now, but I need to see like a better version, because you're coming off of Jaquan Phoenix and Heath Ledger. Like, you got to give me something you got to give me at least a B, because you're coming after two solid A+
Yeah.
guys.
The thing about his version of the Joker reminded me of a mixture, not so much Joaquin Phoenix, but more Jack Nicholson and a little bit of the Heath Ledger darkness. I mean, it was like a mixture, like I'd say 60% Jack Nicholson, 40% Heath Ledger type mixture in his persona. I'm not talking about appearance, but the way he talked, the laugh.
You forgot the 50% Lil Wayne lookalike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I wasn't against the tattoos, but then when I saw like all the tattoos, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
guys,
I knew what they
there was
tried
a
to
line,
do,
and we went
but-
over it. Yeah, well, they tried to make him like a modern day gangster and do that Jack Nicholson thing where instead of rocking a fedora, he's got like the sleeve tattoos and like the gaudy jewelry and stuff, which I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that's updated, But at the same time, it's like, come on, guys. Like, we could do better than this.
especially
I like
in
the fake
iconic
teeth.
roles. I don't think they should.
The Joker's a very delicate role. But speaking of delicate roles, I mean, we're looking at the Mandarin coming up in Shang-Chi.
Do you think that's his dad?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Well, I think in the comics is his dad. So
No, Fing Fang Fu is his dad. Is Shang-Chi's dad.
is he?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
But I
do you
think
think we'll see Fing Fang Foom?
No, I think they're making, to relate to the MCU, I think they're making the Mandarin his dad. Unless if
Okay.
that's just his title and his name is Fing Fang Foom, and he just takes on the Mandarin name, maybe, but I don't think he's in the movie at all.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, did you see the in the trailer they have like the rings, but they're all like on the wrist,
Yeah, instead of actual rings.
like actual rings? Yeah.
It kind of looks like Wakanda technology. So I wonder if there's a like correlation between Wakanda and the society he comes from there.
Are they setting up for Black Panther 2?
Because I think, well, I don't know what the story is now, but I know Namor was originally the villain at first, and then I know he actually gets talked out of not being the villain, but I don't know
I mean,
anymore.
with Black Panther 2, I'm just waiting to see what they say, because we could theorize all day about that one, but at the end of the day, it's always going to lead back to we don't have Chadwick Boseman anymore. And
Did you see that his family and wife all said that they need to recast the role?
yeah, I did see that.
I thought that was dope.
It was, and I think just the interviews and things that I read, I think if he could speak on it, he'd say, yeah, recast it. But at the same time, I mean, just the impact that he had as a person,
He was
as an
so
actor.
dope.
Oh, and the fact that like he hit a sickness that he had, and he made it a point to go and see kids that looked up to him as Black Panther. And he said in interviews over and over and over again, he's like, I've done a lot of roles, but this one means the most to me. And just the reaction that people had to it, and the way he carried it with so much grace and dignity. You know, I mean, we're talking about a comic book character, but he took that character and elevated him to a completely different level with his
Yes.
portrayal. I mean, he stole the show in Civil War.
Yeah.
You know,
How
Yeah.
do you feel those shoes though? I could not be that actor to step into that role. I think it's better off if somehow they cast it over to the sister.
In the comic books, they
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
yeah, I think that would make the most sense. And I think Shuri's ready to take it. I mean, she had enough of she had a big stick in Black Panther,
And in
and just enough wit about her.
in she was
Infinity War.
Yeah, Infinity War.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
talking about his sickness, do you remember when he wrapped up the Infinity Saga, as they called the 22, 23 movies that they put together? And they had that big class picture of everybody involved from beginning to end in that big picture.
Yeah.
There's a video circulating with Chadwick Boseman sitting there, and you see him shaking a little bit, and he's shaking, and then he just closes his eyes, and he looks like he's meditating. And Paul Bettany, that's his name, right? Paul
Yeah.
Bettany? He grabs him. He goes, "You good?" He goes, "I'm okay," and then just keeps right back in the Black Panther mode.
Wow.
It's a clip that's circling the internet, and I was like, wow. Now that we know what's really going on, it was really dope to see him just like take control over his own pain.
Well, just not only over his own pain, but I mean, that role was not just an acting role, but it was a very physical role. And the fight scenes, and I'm not just talking about, Black Panther, I'm talking about Civil War. I mean, he came in, now you don't know when he has the mask on if he's doing the scenes or not, but I will tell you, when he's fighting on the waterfalls,
Yeah.
there was no other character there but him, and that was a very, a very physical scene for him to be in. And
They did say he did a lot of his own stunts, though.
Yeah, well, that whole sequence when they were having that whole fight was just to me, like the whole movie was great, beginning to end. But at the same time, those scenes captured intensity in the movie that, like, you were already kind of waiting for the character to be awesome, and then you get introduced to him as a king, and then you see like the challenges that he faces in front of him just to get Wakanda unified underneath him, and seeing him do those fights. I mean, yeah.
So we got to talk about Sony and Marvel reaching a new deal, almost permanently keeping Tom Holland in the MCU, which we were scared of. And now they have access to more of Sony's catalog of the quote unquote Sonyverse.
Mm-hmm.
We will now be getting Spider-Man on the
Disney Plus.
And I just read recently that Sony and Marvel are talking about Sonyverse independent content that's going to be on Disney Plus, like TV show wise.
Okay.
They're talking about a Miles Morales series. They're talking about a not a Spider Gwen, but Silk, a Silk storyline. Which
Yeah.
I'm all for. I thought Silk was definitely a dope character. But I'm happy. I'm happy that Sony and Marvel are like, all right, let's just get with the program and just figure this out, because the nerds love us. So let's let mommy and daddy just come to an agreement so they can be happy.
Is this another nail in the coffin though for DC?
I think DC is, if they would bring back the Snyderverse, I think they would be on the right track. Now, with Matt, what's his name, doing Batman,
Oh, Matt Reeves.
I think he can also help push that envelope forward. Because he's a good director as well. He's not a yes man director, which Snyder wasn't either. So I think they'll be willing to more push their vision and to make it work. But they need to figure out whether they're going to go hardcore with the multiverse or if they're going to stick with a connected universe and figure out a plan. If not, they are going to fall by the wayside very fast.
I think that's the only way that DC can survive right now, is they just start doing. And I have said this for a long time too. When they had Joker coming out with Joaquin Phoenix, somebody asked me what I thought about that, and I said I think where we're at right now, from a comic book movie standpoint, is we're reaching a peak where you can only go big budget for so long before you have to make a transfer. You have to do something that's going to change it a little bit, and taking certain characters and doing smaller, lower
Disney
budget.
Plus.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Doing smaller, lower budget, indie style films like Joker, instead of treating it like a connected universe. They can adapt, the stories that are out there that people want to see, and cast them however they want. I mean, they do it with the animated movies right now anyways.
Yeah.
Put their own cast in there and then just do it, and either keep it separate and then bring it all together with a multiverse. Just say, here you go, and call it a day. Or they spend Warner Brothers spends the next 10 years trying to duplicate what Marvel did, until they say, okay, well, what's the next book series that we can adapt that's like Harry Potter?
Yeah.
And then they run with that.
Do you think they're trying to recruit big name actors to bring in an audience?
Yes.
I think they're trying to get big name directors right now and cast popular actors, but not necessarily big name actors. Like, they have Nathan Fillion in Suicide Squad. I love Nathan Fillion, so just them saying he was in it, I was already like, yeah, I'm watching it. But now they're starting to get kind of, I don't want to say C-list or D-list actors, but people that aren't massive box office draws, and they're putting in these roles. And that's always worked for DC in the past. Get somebody who's not really well known, have them play a character. I mean, Henry Cavill, he wasn't really on the map until he played Superman. Gal Gadot, she was that one girl that was in Fast and Furious. Then she shows up. Now everyone's like, that's Wonder Woman. Affleck.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
He wasn't
that was
horrible. Okay, he was okay.
But bringing Twilight Boy in,
I have a little hope for him. I have a little, especially after that brutal trailer we got here in the duct tape.
No, I think.
Oh yes.
I think he'll do a good job.
Yes,
I think he'll do a really good job. But it's the bringing it back to the deal that Sony has with Disney. They're stupid not to go with it. I mean, if I remember, I think when they struck the deal to do Homecoming, I think Marvel went to them and said, "Listen, we'll pay for everything, marketing costs, we will do all the work, and you get this much of the profit from it." And Sony was like, "Yeah, okay." And the movie made tons of money.
Yeah, I don't think I didn't think they think it was going to be as successful, because I know
Spider-Man.
From what I read, Tom Holland was Sony's choice. They wanted him, And Kevin Feige was like, well, yeah, he's perfect. So I think they need to just continue with the wave, keep it moving, and just leave Spider-Man in the MCU and just calm down.
They're dumb if they don't. I mean, you can try to develop a Spider-Verse all you want, try to go Sinister Six, but guess what? Nobody cares. You have Spider-Man show up and take Cap's shield, and then lands there and says, "Hey, everybody!"
Perfect intro for Spider-Man.
Oh God, yeah. I when I saw that in the trailer, I lost my mind.
Oh yeah,
and the eyes moving too.
Yeah,
the eyes moving too. That I was just like, take the money, take all of it. Here it is. Just
This may sound silly to you guys, but this is just the TV movie comic geek in me. I look at Superman as like the character for DC. Do you agree?
Yeah, he's probably 1A. Batman is 1B.
I'd say Batman's 1A because whenever Warner Brothers gets in a pinch, they throw Batman at it.
This is coming from a Superman fan?
Yeah. Okay. It's coming from a Superman fan that's a bit surly because since I've been born, there have been, like, since I came into this world, there has been, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, if you count Justice League and the Snyder Cut, 6 Superman movies. Now, let's look at how many Batman movies. Batman 89, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises. Okay, so we're already at 7. Now, Batman v Superman, Justice League, the Whedon cut that we don't talk about, and Justice League, the Snyder cut. Now, we've got
The
Batman. That's 11 movies, not counting the TV series that ran for 4 seasons.
Cartoons.
That was Batman. Yeah. Then they did another series that ran for like 3 seasons. Then they did another one that ran for, what was that, Brave and the Bold, that ran for like 3 or 4 seasons.
4 seasons.
Then they did another one that was like computer generated that ran for like a season. Yeah. You know, it's everyone's like, oh yeah, Superman's the main guy. No, it's Batman. They whenever they get into money trouble on the DC movie side, they just throw Batman out there. So hey, Batman, go make us some money.
Who do you think Marvel would throw at?
Spider-Man.
That's what I was going to say.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is like the founding character for Stan Lee. That's just, I think, that's what I've always thought.
He's the most relatable one.
Yeah, and if you don't like Spider-Man, there's something wrong with you. It's not the character, it's you.
And there was a TV show. There was a TV show back in the 80s, I believe, that was a Spider-Man TV show.
Oh, there's been a ton of them. There was an animated series in the 60s. There was a live action one that was in Japan where they tried to bring it over here and they did like 2 TV movies.
When he had the big arm thing and it like the suit up. Yeah, that was horrible.
That was terrible. It was terrible. Then
they
had
the zipper in the back.
Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends in the early 80s with Iceman and Firestar.
Yep.
And then they had the animated series in the 90s that was amazing.
Yes.
And then they did like
I think that was the Amazing Spider-Man, right?
Then they did Spectacular Spider-Man.
Spectacular. Then it was the Amazing Spider-Man, and now it's the Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, and I think they have another one out too. But I mean, either way, it's Spidey is definitely the go-to character for Marvel in a pinch, where they need to put something out there, and it's awesome. I mean, he's the relatable guy. He's the guy that no matter how good he does, he still fails a test or something at the end of the day.
I just saved the world, but I just got an F.
Yeah. But good job, Pete. By the way, you missed this deadline, so you're fired. But let me ask you guys this.
Right.
When it comes to what's coming up on the slate for everything, the moves that Marvel's making, the things that we're hearing about Sony, the whole 9 yards, do you think after we get, well, actually, are you guys even ready for Loki? What are your expectations for that?
I think I'm ready for Loki because I think it's going to be a humorous show. Also, it's going to be on some like time cop type nonsense because I believe the premise is he has to go after the female version of himself through the whole series because she's messing up the timeline.
That's the rumor. Like he has to go to different timelines, I think is what it is, and like fix things. And
you're going to see like major events in life and he's going to be the cause of some of these certain things.
DB Cooper.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be. Marvel hasn't let me down yet, so I'm not going to say no. I'm going to say yes. Marvel, take my money.
I think everything they touch turns to gold, and I think it'll be.
I'm going to challenge you on that one. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thor: The Dark World.
Okay.
Yeah. Even though it was a necessity, but it definitely was.
It's okay. You can fully say, yeah, there it is. We don't talk about that one.
No.
In most cases, everything they touch turns to gold. But I think
that was like silver. Like it turned to silver.
Yeah. It's watchable if you're a diehard, but the Shakespearean stuff, I'm glad they let him reinvent himself and become the Ragnarok Thor that we all love.
Yeah,
and Jimmy has a poster of in his bedroom.
Well, no, not just so much Thor that I had the poster of. It's some other characters too.
Chris Hemsworth shirtless.
Chris Evans too.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All the Chris's.
Getting all the Chris's. Chris Pine in there too.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah. Chris Pratt in the background.
Christian Bale.
All right, so let's wrap this up before I get totally torn apart here. So,
the comment section is just gonna love you soon.
Oh, they do.
They always do.
They always do, and I always fall for it. You know, that's why I'm on these shows, just as the comedic relief. So, all right. So, in closing, we talked about some broad range topics tonight. Where do you see Marvel going by summer?
Besides Black Widow?
Yeah.
I still think we're gonna get small seeds and multiple fashions. We're gonna have seeds in the Young Avengers. We're gonna have seeds in the Thunderbolts. We're gonna have Secret War seeds, and we're gonna slowly watch them bloom into the next saga of 22 movies and TV shows that are gonna blow our minds.
And the sub question to that is, when do you see phase 2 hitting?
Or the next
phase,
which is what, 4?
Phase 4, yeah.
Well, it starts with
we're in phase 5 right now, so it'll be phase 6.
So 6 would probably be, I think phase 6 starts with the Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
I don't think they've even announced it. Like they're doing the TV shows, but I honestly think phase 6 won't be.
Well, they announced that they're shooting Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas Special at the same time.
Oh, Christmas Special.
Yes. And it's going to be Marvel's first Christmas special. They've had Christmas movies. And by the way, I don't care what anybody on this podcast thinks. Iron Man 3 is a Christmas movie.
Just like Die Hard. I believe it. Just like
Shane Black directed it, and that's like his trademark.
Yes, it is.
It's not a Shane Black movie.
I didn't know that till after.
It does not take place at Christmas. Yeah. Like, he did The Predator, right?
Christmas.
He didn't do it at Christmas. So guess what? That's not a Shane Black movie. No matter how terrible that movie was. He didn't set it at Christmas, so it doesn't count.
So what do you see coming this summer for Marvel besides, like, when do you see the setup for the next phase?
I think we're looking, someone's playing a long game. And I think they were planning pre-COVID. I think they were planning on changing their entire formula to doing a lot more character development on Disney Plus with, like limited miniseries or TV shows just to really build up the characters. I think those are the seeds that are planting for the big movies and the big team ups. But I think what's going to happen is I mean, we're not going to see any sort of big new Avengers or whatever the large crossover movie is going to be until at least, I want to say like 5 years, 6 years down the road.
Say, I was going to say
there's-
2023. So you don't see it for much longer?
No. When it comes to like a large team up,
I think
no, I think we'll see. Yeah, we'll see sequels. Like we'll see sequel movies coming out where they'll explore some characters that are already introduced, like Photon in WandaVision.
Yep.
When they do Captain Marvel 2, there's going to be a whole exploration as to why she hates, Carol Danvers. But I don't think we're going to get there's too many threads to follow to just suddenly boom have a team up. Like it'll be like when DC did Justice League, it'll feel like it's just kind of all rammed together, and they have to make like a 6-hour movie to explain everything.
I think they will have small crossovers like Thor's and Guardians of the Galaxy. I think we'll have stuff like that. But to be honest, I'm okay with not having another Avengers movie to like the end of Phase 6 or Phase 7. Give me a bunch of other movies. I want, like I said, Fantastic Four before an Avengers movie. Give me X-Men before an Avengers movie.
I just want to see the next phase really hit, because I know, and I say this partially, Colin, with you having a young son and daughters, you having young daughters and a teenage son, some of the best moments I shared with Jimmy were watching Marvel movies over the last year, several years. And those were like some bonding moments between him and I. And I think Marvel has, that's why maybe I'm a little bit more towards Marvel, but I think that it's been good for my family, and I hope it can do something for the next set.
Yeah, well, here's the funny thing. Connor was born a month and a half after the first Avengers movie came out. That was one of the last movies I saw in the movie theater before he was born.
Awesome.
And he's going to be 9 this year. So it took for them to get to Endgame. That was 7 years of movies that came out just to get to Endgame. And to make it even better, there was already 4 years worth of Marvel movies coming out. Like Iron Man came out in 2008. It was right after I graduated college. A few months later, my wife and I bought our first house and got engaged. And then got married. And like life happened, and then boom, Avengers movie, and then more life happened, and there we go. Like I'm fully expecting that like they won't even do anything when it comes to like a big Avengers team up or something like that until he's ready to drive a car.
I was just going to say, so according to CMAC, until his son's in college, we're not going to see an Avengers movie. So
basically, yeah.
What I got from that was, you are a nerd if you can relate what happened major in your life to a Marvel movie. All right. When I lost my virginity, Captain America was out.
Lyrican, you don't even want to hear me start talking about Superman in my life.
Oh, God.
No, next episode.
Next episode.
Oh, I can sum it up very quickly. I'm in high school. What comes out? Smallville.
Oh, God.
I graduate college. What ends? Smallville. Okay. Go through that period of time where you're trying to figure out what kind of man you want to be. And what happens? Superman Returns, Man of Steel, all that stuff. And now I have kids, and what comes out on TV? Superman and Lois. And what's happening in Superman and Lois? They have kids.
Yeah.
It's kind of freaking me out.
See, I've always related my life to the Smurfs, but whatever works.
Small and little.
And blue.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, Comic Heads, it's time to disassemble.